Hello everybody, my name is Stefan and welcome to this channel. Let's make animation from start to finish. I'm calling this episode 0 because in this episode I'd like to talk about the production pipeline of an animation. In future episodes we're going to take an animation project from start to finish. We're going to do storyboards, we're going to do modeling, rigging, animation, everything. I'm going to try to do everything in real time without leaving any steps out, so you can see exactly what goes into making an animation project. Now on the screen here is a quick sketch that I did in ZBrush. Everything starts with an idea, and I had this idea for a short little animation that I want to do. I wanted to take the theme of James Bond and this kind of spy mission that a character needs to go through, either obtaining an object or getting information from somebody or whatever needs to be done. I haven't planned out anything. So what I did was I went into ZBrush and I quickly made just a head sculpt of a character that I think would be a cartoon version of perhaps a James Bond character. This is not the character that we're going to be using for the show, obviously. This is just a rough idea to get something on the screen. We're going to be taking each step. We're going to be modeling the characters. As I'm looking at this character, it might be a little bit too realistic. All these wrinkles and things around the eyes. I'm not sure if that's the direction I want to go, but the general shape of this character, I can see things that I like about the character. I like the roundness of the eyes. I like the sharpness of the brow, the nose, also the shape, the silhouette that I get from this character. So we're going to try to incorporate some of this into our character. Okay, but in this episode, excuse me, what I want to do is talk a little bit about the production pipeline. Okay, I've created a little diagram here. Any animation project is broken down into 3 stages: the pre-production, the production, and the post-production. In pre-production, everything starts with an idea. Like I said, what I did was I created a quick concept design sketch in ZBrush just to get a general feel for the project, for the idea I have in my head. Nothing's worked out yet. I just want something on the screen to test whatever is in my head, to get it out on the screen and to test, will this work? What we're going to be doing is storyboards. Our storyboards will cover kind of a story. It won't be a 3-act structure or anything Shakespearean. It's going to be a bunch of actions leading up from a goal that the character has to either fulfilling the goal or failing in that goal. In storyboards, the information that we get is the action, the business that's going on, and also the timing. When we incorporate some editing into that, we take the storyboards and edit them in a sequence so that we can get an idea of each shot that needs to be animated, all of the props that need to be there, all the characters, etc. Now, once we're done with the... actually, what I wanted to say was the show that we're going to do won't be like a short film. The idea that I have is to take this project and treat it as if it was something of that belongs in a bigger project, like a feature film or something. I was thinking of making an animation that was kind of the hook for the story. The hook is usually that first 5-10 minutes of the film where there's some exposition, not a lot. The only function of those 5 minutes is to hook the audience into watching the rest of the film. So that's kind of my idea for this project that we're going to do. Once we're done with excuse me. Once we're done with the storyboards, we're going to go into modeling and texturing. ZBrush is amazing for that, in the sense that as we're modeling, we can start finalizing our textures as well. So it's not something that we need to do later on. I'm going to be using ZBrush 4R6. There are amazing tools in that release that's just mind-blowing, and things that just save you a ton of effort and time. Okay, once we're done with the modeling, we go into layout. Layout is basically just taking those rough models and using them kind of like dolls, like action figures, and just moving them around at the hips and just playing around with them, moving them around in 3D space so that we can get information in terms of our camera placement and also the timing. Once that's done, and it's actually done kind of in this, if you're working in a team, it's done in the same time frame. The next stage would be rigging, and in rigging we basically build a skeleton for those models and building controls so that we can control them in animation. Once that's done, we're in the production phase, and the production phase is basically animation, animation, animation. We take those rigs, we start animating each and every shot. We take the information that we got from the layout, and we take the information we got from the storyboards and the edited storyboards, the animatics, and we start animating each and every shot. While we're animating, we're constantly refining our edit, and we're constantly reviewing our footage, making sure that each shot works and works in conjunction with the shot previous and the shot following. No shot stands alone. Every shot needs to be part of something bigger. So constantly reviewing, constantly editing. Then we get, once that animation is done, with the principal animation. The principal animation is basically the characters, things that we build controls for, things that we can kind of handle by hand. We go into effects animation. Effects animation is all the cloth simulations, hair simulations, explosions, all of the special effects that we put in to enhance the footage. Effects animation cannot stand alone. Just because you have a beautiful explosion doesn't make it a good animation. The entertainment value of animation belongs here in the principal animation. This is kind of the cherry on the cake, but it's not the cake itself. Okay, once the animation and the effects, everything is done, we go into lighting and we set up our materials. Here we'll do things like subsurface scattering for faces, getting everything just right to evoke the mood and the feel and the texture of everything, from props to characters. Everything in this stage we just make beautiful. Once that's done, we go into post-production. Now, post-production, the first stage of post-production, is the most tedious of all. Here we start with rendering. Now, rendering can take days, weeks, months, years even, depending on the processing power that you have. Now, I'm handling this project on my own, so it might take a while, but rendering is one of those things in 3D animation that's just tedious, and if you're not a very patient person, rendering most likely is not for you. Um, uh, Basically, in rendering, what we do is we take all of this data that we got in animation and the effects, all of that raw 3D information, and we convert it over into a 2D image. Once the rendering is done, we go into our final editing. Here we just fine-tune the editing, getting the voices, everything to just sync perfectly, getting the timing right for every single shot. This might be a difference between 5-6 frames, shorter or longer. Once the final editing is done, we do our compositing. The compositing is basically putting all of these images together. Sometimes you'll have a scene with 3-4 characters. We don't render those 3-4 characters out in one pass. What we do is we render them out as separate files, and in compositing we just put them all together. Once everything's put together, we go into color grading. Color grading is basically setting the mood for each and every shot, the visual mood for every shot. Is the color spectrum warm, or is it more in the cool spectrum? If you think of films like The Matrix, where we're in the Matrix, everything is graded kind of green, and when we're in the real world, everything is more a natural color. Still in the blue spectrum, because supposedly in the real world everything is cold because there's no sun, but the mood that we're creating for the audience is that inside the Matrix everything is kind of green. It just gives you that unsettling feeling when you're inside the Matrix. We're going to be doing the same thing, not actually going into the Matrix, but we're going to be using color to create mood for our film. Then we add the sound effects and the music, and finally we get to post our video. Now in post, this could be for film or for television, or in our case we're going to put it up on YouTube. So in the next episode we're going to be tackling our animation project, and we're going to be taking it step by step. I haven't planned out everything. I'm going to do everything on the fly. So if you have any suggestions, anything that you'd like to add, please just leave your comments, and we'll try to incorporate some of those ideas. So if you like this video, please comment, like, subscribe, and help out this channel so that it can go on, and hopefully we can finish this very, very, very big animation project. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.